UFOs from parallel worlds, and the human consciousness. There are theories that UFOs are maneuvered with magnetism, but theorists claim that it wouldn't work with Earth's magnetism. However, could it be that they use the pulling force of Earth's South Pole and North Pole to maneuver in our atmosphere, and that there are parallel worlds to Earth with their own magnetism? Could it be that visitor UFOs from our parallel worlds use their world's magnetism against Earth's, and thus can appear in our sky as visitors from another dimension, a parallel world to Earth? Once I asked my first guide, a little gray, and she said that UFOs are powered by magnetism. Time travel would seem impossible in our dimension, but if one could cross the boundary to another dimension, a parallel world, time and space would be the same in all dimensions. But if one could reach a dimension, a parallel world, that is much further ahead in development than we are, the same time but perhaps 50,000 years further in development, then it could indeed be called a time travel, a journey into the future, but still the same time but different space. Time and space, time is the same everywhere, but space shifts, the same time, or the same moment but in a different space, another dimension. That could perhaps explain UFOs' rapid movement and sudden disappearance. They simply become invisible when they shift back to their dimension. There are many stories throughout history of people and objects disappearing into thin air, and they likely end up in another world, maybe forever. The human consciousness. It has often happened throughout world history that great inventions have emerged at roughly the same time, without the inventors being aware of their colleagues' work. The survival instinct and sexual drive. We humans have the survival instinct built into our consciousness, and this includes the sexual drive. For us to survive as a species, we must reproduce sexually. So the sexual must be the ultimate self-preservation drive in consciousness before death, so the species survives. Freud, the father of psychology, is likely right in many respects when he bases it on the sexual. Homosexuals have put this survival instinct, self-preservation drive out of play, but still have the drive built into them. If the higher consciousness would control it, people with higher consciousness, they all fall into the primitive sexual drive to reproduce, to survive as a species. Now they use their primitive drive to loudly convince their fellow human beings of their right to exist, but unfortunately, they are dead, extinct forever, unless they still have offspring with the opposite sex. The collective consciousness. All humans on Earth, even animals, are part of the collective consciousness. We are like a large organism, telepathic but so intimately bound to each other as a species that we don't notice it. We rub under our noses if we are a bit over, sniff at ourselves if we are a bit under, scratch ourselves on various parts of the body, but it is just thoughts and feelings constantly moving through the collective body called humans. Elevated consciousness. We have visits from extraterrestrials, other worlds, other dimensions. They have been all over Earth for many thousands of years. They have had contact persons throughout history, up to our days. Many so-called geniuses and inventions throughout world history may have been contact persons. Some people, all over the world, today's contact persons, get help from their friends from other worlds. And there are also operations of the human brain to increase their capacity. For example, by connecting the right and left brain hemispheres with what can be called microscopic nerve fibers. These operations are incredibly fast and with an unimaginable skill, without any visible external signs that an operation has taken place. People who receive elevated consciousness are aware of their operations. Control of consciousness. The people who have been trained and/or operated on have higher consciousness than the collective human masses consciousness, and thereby have an overview of the whole world, and can even intervene in the collective consciousness to implant thoughts, influences, to get the human collective consciousness to move forward, make progress, mostly with a spiritual direction, but scientific influence also exists. Negative forces. There are also extraterrestrial and worldly forces that are negative for the progress of the masses in the world.